Ladies and gentlemen, Big Harry News.
Kia ora koutou te whānau. Welcome back to Big Hairy News with myself and Joey.
Oh, this is a good start to the show. I can't hear you.
Oh, she's. Oh no, it's me. No, it's not.
That
It's
is
not me.
problem
It's
on my
you.
end. Fuck.
Got me scared for a second there. I thought I was doing a whole intro and no one could hear me. It's this. Looks like I'm coming through just fine. So it's not me. It's a you. Oh,
There we go.
has his headphones
I'm back with you now.
died? No, you're back.
I'm back with you now.
Oh,
Oh,
jeez.
sorry. That was
Panicky.
just a great start to the show. Oh, and my desk lamp just decided to take a fucking header off the desk as well. So it's going well. Yay! Yay for Mondays. Everything's fine.
How was your weekend?
How
though?
are you, Ems?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I have tea. This is your Tuesday, is it, Chewy? No, you can't hear me.
Oh, you just. I'm sorry, Ems. I'm going to do a restart. I don't know what's going on. One sec. I'll be back in a tick.
I guess we're doing the show by myself tonight, guys.
Yep. Bye.
We heard that, so I don't know what's going on. Hi, team. I'll tell you all about my weekend. It is Monday. Well, no, because okay, sorry to clarify. Chewy's week starts on a Sunday because he doesn't work Fridays and Saturdays. So I was asking him how his Tuesday is, which is because it's technically his Tuesday if you think about the week from Monday to Friday. You feel me? That's what's going on. I do know it's Monday. I do know that. Pink Pet Poo Chat Ebs. Jesus Christ. Speaking of the pooper, shall we say hello to the pooper? This is his spot. He's a real cuddler. He gets really upset if you don't cuddle him when he wants to cuddle. I spent my morning coffee cuddling him under a blanket, and he would not let me leave. So here you go. Also, this is what this. I'm not going to show you too much because otherwise you'll see all my notes, my fun things. Look at the boy! Isn't he beautiful? He's so funny. He's got look at his little fangs. Sorry, look. There's also a heater right here, so that he gets the heat. Sometimes he starts to meld off the mat. There you go. Look at this beautiful boy. Oh, you're so fluffy. Oh, you're so fluffy. Okay. It's going to attack me if I'm not careful. There you go. There you go. It's my new co-host because Joey's left me all alone. Well, I hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. I spent. Oh, actually, I did have quite an exciting weekend. So there's something called the Clucas Cup, which is like the selections comp from figure skating for like the national reps, New Zealand reps. So I got to watch junior and senior level figure skating, which was very, very cool because I don't get to see that very often because most of them are in Dunedin or Auckland. We don't have too many high level skaters here in Christchurch at this moment. Got a bunch of people coming through the ranks, which is really cool. But yeah, I saw a triple double, if you know what that is. And a couple of double axles, which was pretty cool. And a lot of people having to deal with a smaller rink when they come from a bigger rink. So I felt kind of bad for those skaters because they're probably used to like an extra, I don't know, 5 meters around the rink extra. So if their jumps, like most of them are, get close to the boards, you just see them like retracting their legs essentially so that they reduce how far they go. So there's just a lot of people managing to save jumps that I didn't think they could. This is very highly technical to my sport, but I just thought I would mention it. But apparently they will be in Christchurch yearly because they just can't run them up in Auckland, even though most of the skaters are from Auckland. But it does mean that I get to see all the exciting, cool skaters do their thing. There's like a... Wait, no, he wasn't even 12. He was in the under 12. There's like an under 12. He must be like 11 or something. 10 or 11 years old. Boy, who was just amazing. Amazing. And then there was another skater who's junior level who wore this really cool costume. It had like... It kind of looked like it was obviously like a costume, but it had like belts, like a rock star, and it had like a little hood, and then it had like a mesh cutout, so it looked like she was wearing like a rock star tight pants, cool costume. Yeah. I'm padding as much as I can, guys. I don't know where Chewy's gone, so let's get back to politics, shall we? Tonight's episode is going to be a bit of an interesting one. So I don't know how many of you guys watched Q&A over the weekend, but I will say the MP that showed up today was over the weekend. Sorry, the top of the hour interview was Tangi Utikere, who is the spokesperson for Labour on transport and was part of the announcement of the public transport caps. He's back. Wait, what? That's not... Wait a minute. Hang on a minute. It says Aussie Pat. What is this? Oh no. If it is Pat, he did say that he has very poor internet. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can... I don't think your internet can handle this, bro. Can I cut your video and see how that goes? Jesus. You might have to cut your video, otherwise I don't think we're going to be able to get in sync. That's a great freeze frame. I'm concerned about what was going on there.
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Hello?
Hello? Well, Pat can neither hear us either, so I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, you might want to turn off your camera so that the internet's not being chewed up. Might be a smart move. Then we can hear you. This is going to be a fun Monday. Hey, okay.
Is that better?
Is that a better
Hello?
faster connection?
Hello?
Yeah, it's a better. Yeah. Yes, that's better. That's better.
And you can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm running a show by myself.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So I thought I'd jump in and say hello.
I thought it was Chewy coming back, but it wasn't. How is Australia? Not too hot, not too cold?
I know. No, I've actually got my VHM hoodie on right now. So there is, as you know, I messaged you today saying, look at this upload speed for this one TikTok video. It says it's going to take 10 hours. So the place we're staying in the Tambourine Mountain doesn't have Wi-Fi and everything has to hotspot, and even that's obviously pretty bad. So I'm obviously not going to hang around for a long time because I'm probably lagging as well, but I thought I'd say good day.
Oh, it's very, very kind of you. Have you kept up with the news over here, or have you been full blackout?
I haven't been full blackout, but I also haven't been really keeping up. Like I saw a headline about a really good policy released by Labour that Nicola Willis held a press conference to spend 20 minutes talking about how it's the devil. But I haven't seen a lot. We've been doing touristy things. We've been to Australia Zoo, crikey, Steve Irwin Zoo. We've been to, went and saw the Beetlejuice musical yesterday for my birthday. went to the museum in Brisbane, went to the art gallery, went across to Moreton Island for a day and swam with fish. Yeah, so I've been real busy.
Nice. Sounds exciting. Very jealous. I think we've all been just.
Yeah.
Well, last week we were celebrating the new policy. We thought it was great. I was about to tell the chat that the main interview over the weekend on Q&A probably kind of burst the bubble a little bit because it was not a great interview, if I'm honest. But we'll have a look at that, Chewy. I don't know if you've seen it, but yeah, wasn't great. But otherwise, it's great policy.
Haven't seen it. Yeah, haven't seen anything. Haven't really been watching. To be honest, haven't had screens on very much at all. Bought my laptop to do some work. Haven't really done anything. I'm thinking about my 3 friends back there who are doing some design work, some technical work, and some internet work about our upcoming events in the second half of the year. Hopefully, that's all going really well. And yeah, it's not really much else to say. It was interesting there's 2 things I've noticed since being over here, and I'll talk more about this when I get back. The first is it's so clearly obvious that their superannuation scheme works, because we were both, my wife and I were walking through a mall the other day and we were like, look at all the grey hairs. And it's just, there are so many retired people just sitting around having a cup of tea and a slice. And like, I can only look at that and go, okay, why are all these grey-haired people able just to all chill in a cafe in a mall? Is never cheap. And it must be because, they've done their superannuation well for 30, 40 years and they're reaping the benefits of it right now. We had Muldoon cancel ours back in the 80s. But yeah, so that's the first observation. And the second is we're at this place called Mount Tambourine right now, which is in the rainforest. And we went to a restaurant. Where did we go? We went to this. There's this walk through the trees. So I went to a tourist location in a tourist place, and I said, if I'd like to know some more about the Indigenous culture of the area. Where can I go to find out about that? And they were like, there's actually. Yeah, the Heritage Centre maybe, but that's only open in the weekends. And then this guy went, there's an Indigenous guy that works at the primary school. He's a real good value. And it's just like, oh my God, do you want any clearer example of one of the, just think about going to any, even small, right, tourist location in New Zealand as a tourist and going, if I wanted to know more about this, this Maori thing, what can I do? That people would go, gosh, I think we've got one down the primary school. That was the response. So it was fascinating actually. So, hey, I think someone's back.
I'm back now.
Sorry,
my computer decided to do about 17 different updates.
He has returned.
So hopefully that fixes the audio problem.
I'll leave you to it so I don't mess up the Kia ora, brother. Doing well?
Hi, Pat.
He's on another leg.
Going well.
Wondering.
He's struggling. What I'll do, is I'll leave you guys to it. Hey, Joey, I'll leave you guys to it. And I'm not going to touch anything because the one time I've done this before, I ended the stream. So, Ems, if you could please...
We get to kick him out. Yes. I've always wanted to do that. But I can't actually kick him because he's also... he has to leave himself. I can't kick... there he is. I can kick him off the screen, but I can't actually kick him out because obviously he's on his own account. But I've always wanted to do that. Get out of here. Zoop.
Get out of here, you scamp. Sorry about that, Ems. That was bad and not fun for anybody.
It was so bad that Papa Pat had to come in, so,
It's like, someone needs me. I'm on the way.
The 10-second lag. Also, everyone's saying happy birthday, Pat. I was watching the chat and also doing something else. But did he say it was his birthday? He did say it was. He went and did something for his birthday. Is that what I missed? Everyone was saying happy birthday. And I'm like,
he's on holiday for his birthday. As both of us have our birthdays this week.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not here for the guts of this week, because I'm going up to Wellington to get this guy finished off.
Ooh,
Very,
exciting.
very much looking forward to getting that, and to see the Descendants play. So I am looking forward to that.
Very exciting. I see you've also changed your merch for the rest of the show. You went from Shihad to Murder by Death.
Yes, because my hoodie was I was very toasty.
You're flustered.
I don't own normal clothes. Like, I mean, look,
What do you mean?
those are the ones that I don't wear. I have an entire chest of drawers. Everything is music related.
That was a hugely delayed message. All good. We sorted. That's cool. I'm just petting my cat because he is slowly melting off of the desk. I did say he melts off the desk. I managed to fill some of the time talking about figure skating and the other time showing my cat. So
nice. The cat that I will refer to forever now as the shitter.
It's the shitter. Oh, I
you
showed
do
my
a
husband.
shit
He
live on
absolutely-
camera and no one lets you live it down.
So embarrassed! Don't embarrass my cat, okay? He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Well, we should probably do the housekeeping and get into the actual meat and potatoes, shouldn't we? Because there's a lot to talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a busy weekend. Lots of things happening. I wish I always do this. Always do this. Add to the stage. A big thank you to our patrons. Gotta say a big thank you to our patrons over at patreon.com/BigHairyNews. If you'd like to join us, head on over there. You can find all sorts of different options. If you'd like to join us, you'll get monthly meetups, behind the scenes messages and apologies from Pat, discount codes sometimes for the merch store. You also get let on some of the secrets, the little secrets that are happening before everybody else, which is always good fun. And sometimes if you're the only person in the chat, in the call, you have myself, Pat, and one other person on the monthly meetup, which is fantastic. I think it was a shout out to Gold for that one. It was a great Saturday morning. It was good fun. But yes, you can jump over there and join us if you'd like to be a long-term supporter of BHN. Also to mention that we do have a website, bhn.nz, where you can find all of the lovely links to all of the awesome shows. I was going to say magical shows on the network. You also find the shop. Oh,
Can
yes.
I just say
hello?
from the clips that went up today, how jarring it is for me still to open up YouTube and see my own face.
You're welcome.
I don't know. I don't think I'll ever get used to that.
Yeah, it gets better and easier with time. I was going to say, we also have a shop tab, but the shop is currently on hiatus. I did see an email came through. It says, when can I buy t-shirts? Pat is the merch man, and the merch man is on holiday, as you just saw. So it will be back up and running when he gets back. If you do somehow find a way to order something, just letting you know that you will not get it until he gets back up and running, which may be probably a good week after he gets back from holiday. He's got to get back into the groove, because it sounds like he actually is taking a break, which is very cool. Good on Pat. Well, would you like to start the show now? Or have you got something to add?
No. We're my whole story was my computer shitting itself and needing to update. So I've told everybody and in fact demonstrated my story. Let's get on to the news.
The news. Have you seen anything as of late, Chewy?
I've seen some stuff today. Today's been fun because you had that circus at the White House, but I'm sure we're not talking about that. But God, what a joke! What a joke that is to set up basically a backyard Fight Club at the White House, and there were jets going over, and Joe Rogan had a tie approximately this long. They put an interview live to air where someone said that Michelle Obama was a man. Am I right? Just an utter zoo. This is the declining of an empire right in front of us. It's like watching ancient Rome fold, but it's on our phones. It's great. I see that David Seymour has been a cunt to a voter. That was good. And just the first thing that came to mind was, of course, Jacinda was right about that man.
I'm pretty sure she said prick, but cunt probably was the word that she was censoring in that one. I'm
mean, it's all a spectrum, and David Seymour is that entire nasty fucking spectrum. And then what was the other little thing that I saw that I was just like, oh yeah, it is days away from the election. Is Christopher Luxon is taking advice about MP perks. Don't get excited. He's talking about ex-MP perks. Certainly not the perks that he is entitled. His entitlements, to which he is entitled, I'm sure, are ring-fenced and are not up for scrutiny. But he apparently wants to take advice about what perks are available to former MPs. Once again, completely missing the target of what people are pissed off about.
Well,
so those are the little news snippets that I saw.
So that's cool. That's cool. We got more for you. It gets fascinating and interesting. All these things. But National have gone on a bit of a rampage. So much so that they've put out a costed report to call out Labour for their fiscal holes. Kind of pot calling the kettle black a little bit. So to the point where National did Nicola Willis fronted this, which is a little bit funny that Luxon's not there for some reason now that I think about it. Standing in front of a beautiful blue backdrop, national backdrop there, just to tell the nation that the party, their opposition party, who are currently not the government, have a hole in the imaginary budget that they haven't actually put out, and it's based on a bunch of quotes from the last 2 years.
Perfect.
Yeah. Would you like to enjoy this one?
Yes, I'm going to.
The battle over election spending has begun, with National today accusing Labour of making promises it can't afford.
The purpose of inviting you here today is to call upon the Labour Party to explain how it is going to close the yawning gap.
Can I just say one thing here?
Spending plan.
Go for it.
First of all, why does she look like a haunted Victorian doll? Second of all, she called this press conference on a Sunday, which is incredibly unusual. Like, she's assembled
It's
the press.
their day off. Leave the journalists alone, girl.
For basically an attack press conference. Like, usually if you have a senior government minister announce a snap press conference on a Sunday, you're like, holy shit, what's gone wrong? Are we going to war? But yeah, this is just partisan pre-election politics. It's just very strange.
Funny that you said Victorian doll, because I did also look at that and I'm like, is that something that Ruth Richards may have worn?
It's that weird ruffled collar.
I don't mind it so much, but it's not giving politician, I don't know. Anyway, okay. I don't know. We probably shouldn't be giving fashion advice. I mean, you're sitting in front of a wall of
She's
band t-shirts.
not wearing a band t-shirt for a band that I also hate. That would be perfect. If we could do that, that'd be great.
All right. Anyway, let's see what she had to say on a Sunday that was for her party in politics and elections.
Warning gap. between its spending plans and revenue intentions.
National has compiled what it calls Labor's hidden bill, claiming the opposition has committed to billions of dollars in new spending, without fully explaining how it would be funded. The bulk of the spending coming from bringing back the pay equity bill.
This is Labor's $18 billion hidden bill for New Zealanders. Even if you removed one of these, you still have billions of unfunded dollars. And what this highlights for you is the ambiguity that Labor have intentionally created about what their policies are, because they know that if they are clear, the spending hole will be even clearer.
Labor rejects National's numbers entirely, calling them made up.
It's just desperate scaremongering from the National Party, who are attacking Labor's plans because their one isn't working out.
She says National is trying to distract after 3 years of broken promises.
She made some pretty big promises in 2023. When she got into government, she had to borrow to pay for those promises. I'm not going to make the same mistakes as Nicola Willis. I'm being very careful about it. And because this is my 18th budget, I'm being so careful about what we're going to be doing. All our policies will be costed, and you'll see the full plan as part of our fiscal plan.
National is also disputing Labor's costings for its recently announced public transport policy.
That would cost $1.6 billion, not $65 million.
While the major party...
Yes.
Do you know how she's got to that number?
I would love to know.
It is literally some napkin math that they've thrown together at a pub. I guarantee it. So Labor mentioned a number for basically Auckland or Wellington commuters, people that commute into town and back out again 5 days a week. And they've mentioned that those people will save approximately X amount of dollars. In the same statement, they also said, hey, look, 1.3 million people are going to benefit from this. And then National has gone, number mentioned the first time, that the saving for your average commuter, and then the total number of people that Labor said would benefit, which would be not just commuters, anybody that takes public transport 2 or 3 times a week would benefit. Maybe not as much as the commuters of Wellington and Auckland, but they have extrapolated it out. Their average saving for an Auckland or Wellington commuter times the total number of people that Labor said would benefit. And they have arrived at this $1 billion number. It is just a lie, just an outright lie, because we're not in the House, we can say this. And I cannot believe that they do not know it's a lie. But being how aggressive they are with this, going to the point of having this unusual Sunday press conference, and the full court press of social media, including a brand new AI cartoon that Nationals put up on their Facebook page tonight, that is pushing this lie as well. So they've found their mark. It's easily disproven, but it will play in the market. And I think why it's heavily on Facebook is for obvious reasons. They're talking to your elders that get their info from Facebook, and perhaps haven't read actually the press release that Labor have put out, or at least didn't understand it.
There is a little bit on the One News one that has a little graphic as well, which goes a little bit. The highlights of the little report. I actually found the report itself too, if you want to have a quick. They put a lot of effort into this in the last 5 days. It's quite interesting. As far as an attack goes, but the One News did a lovely little graphic we can have a look at too.
Rivals to front up over what she's calling
Labor's $18 billion hidden bill.
That alleged bill comprising of a number of so-called spending commitments. The major ones include reinstating pay equity changes at almost $11 billion over 4 years, forgoing the dividends of Crown-owned companies to pay for a future fund at $2.7 billion over the same period, and reversing the public sector job cuts, also at $2.7 billion.
And Labor no doubt intend to pronounce a number of other spending promises. And my point is they're building that on the edifice of an already gaping hole.
Throwing
She should not say those words.
That
Oh.
that list. Okay, so reversing pay equity. Good. You know, that's good. That's what people have been campaigning and asking for is to remove that. So that is a good thing. Anybody that supports Labor will be going, yes, that is good. We encourage that.
Good $10 billion spent.
The dividends for the future fund companies. Like, again, that's a really solid piece of policy. Oh, by the way, that Labor put out earlier this year. Remember when Labor wasn't putting out policy? They put out that policy, the Future Fund, which seems really, really interesting and will basically back New Zealand businesses. That is a good thing. And the reverse the public sector cuts. Now, I'm interested where they have got that from.
They've got it from their own budget.
Yeah, I'd like.
Do you mean the number, or where they got the idea that's something that Labor have committed to?
Yeah, well, I mean, I haven't seen anything about that.
Well,
I'm
look
sure they want to stop the rot, but
Excuse me.
that's a hell of a lot of people that have probably left and gone to Australia. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, I found the hidden bill itself. This is quite literally a 10-page report that National had put together. For some reason, honestly, this kind of just makes me laugh because this is next level, like, attacking a party instead of, like, you know, carrying on with business as usual. Going after a party that's not in government and attacking all of the things that they've said and showing some sort of big fiscal hole. Look, I'm not disputing any of this stuff. This is beyond my pay grade for understanding things. It's just the level of effort to like put this whole report together to discredit them. Like, they've gone, what Labor has said, and they've cited actual quotes from Labor current ministers of Labor Party. Labor's commitment to pay equity is irrevocable. You know, more what Labor has said. What Labor has said, another quote. What Labor has said, another quote. What Labor has said, 3 quotes. Another quote. This is all based on quotes that they've done all this stuff. It's what isn't in this document. All of these other things that other ministers may have said in passing.
I mean, so my question here is, who is this document for? Because if you're a Labor supporter, you'd look at that list of things and go, yes, that is what we want. That is what the party is campaigning on. That is the thing that we are asking for. Good. And if you're on National side of things, you'd be like, well, that's cool. I wasn't going to vote for them anyway. I just don't see who this is supposed to convince. Is it for anybody, say, left of centre, that is worried about this sort of stuff? Or is it for the former National supporters that they're hemorrhaging to New Zealand First and ACT? Because that's where they're losing their votes. It's not because we see these polls. There was a poll out today where National are under 30% again. And ACT is, I think ACT's held steady, and New Zealand First is going up a bit. So yeah, are they trying to shore up support from their own people rather than attacking Labor? They want to be seen as somebody that's in the fight. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. But happy to be proved wrong. I'm not happy. I hate it. I hate being proved wrong. Don't like it.
Yeah, that's a bit of a fun one for a Sunday evening. We don't usually get that kind of big political New Sunday. It seems a bit of an overreaction after their very first policy, Chewy, that no one is going to acknowledge the other ones except this report is showing the other policies that Labour has already released. But there's just like, have they jumped the gun and like, are they just getting ahead of it, or are they going to do this every single time and it's going to get kind of super
aggressive?
Yeah, but like, wouldn't you just as a voting, like, I don't know, national voter or whatever, after you see this like every single time there's a policy released, would you not just go like, get over it? Like, I'm not voting, like you just said, I'm not voting for these guys anyway. Stop wasting your time and money on this stuff. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, that's the other aspect. They have campaign money to waste. Like they can go
Clearly
on a full social media rampage with this. And you see that the amount of paid ads and paid videos that everybody's doing. I think every national MP diligently put out some sort of attack video about why public transport is bad, actually. Yeah, it's been
an interesting
everywhere over the weekend.
line.
Yeah, well, you know, you've got to convince people that having a cap on public transport is somehow outside of the ability of New Zealand to cope with. You know, we can definitely get rid of $800 million for no ferries, but 64 million for public transport is too much. It'll break us. We won't be able to afford, ginger nuts at team meetings or something like that. I don't know, but this is going to be a long couple of months if this is the level of barking at cars that National are going to go for. Oh, God damn it. Discord, why do you do this? I'm going to have to put this up. This is... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about this, chat.
Oh, Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah. Horrifying.
Oh, Jesus. Thanks for that. Discord are way too quick on it, man.
They're
We've had a
so
lot
good.
of live memes.
I also love that sometimes someone puts up something AI and people just go, we prefer janky Photoshop more than AI. And I agree. I'm definitely janky Photoshop is just automatically more funny.
Agreed. Well, that's all we've got to say on that one. Shall we get to the super chats and then we can look at the next, I guess it's kind of the next part of the story a little bit.
Yeah. I'm not surprised that this is all going to dovetail into each other. The daily reminder, 145 days and we get to vote sanity in, but only if you check that you're registered to vote and start having those conversations with people that say that there's no point or they don't see anybody that speaks to them. We have to get as many people into the voting booth as possible, and we have to start talking about it with them now. Yesterday, 3 months ago. I will jump for a triple double hamburger. It's good to have standards.
You missed. It's fine. It's okay.
I missed so much.
That was for me. That was for me.
Inside jokes. Pat is failing at holiday. Yes.
Yeah.
Pete believes that Nikki would have got advance warning about a poll dropping and panicked. Wanted to get into the news cycle beforehand. Not a bad thought there. Citizen Gold again with a generous $10. Total sunk cost from cancelling the ferries could fund public transport caps for just over 10 years. Let's check that deliverable. National, no ferries, Labour, 10 years of public transport caps. Yep. And Mike Bray. It was announced as an economy update only to get 20 minutes of bitching. Oh dear, she's worried. Interesting. So they pitched it as a lovely Sunday, was it morning or afternoon? Sunday morning economy update. Okay. Weird. All in all, just very strange.
I feel bad for the journalists, to be honest. And they had to actually run it. If it were me, I probably would have been like, she lied to us. This is just a national campaign attack thing. And this is weird because they're not actually the ones in government at the moment. And they got a lot of holes to fill too. And there's also this like future payment that we have to pay. No one will say what it is. I don't know. Yeah. Too much money, too much time.
Apparently it was 1 p.m. on a Sunday. So that's kind of like 9 o'clock work day time for a Sunday. Like you're barely up at that point, right?
I mean, I'm not up. I'm not awake at 1 p.m. That's just a regular day. I don't know.
Can you imagine being a real journalist, Em? You get a text message going, Nicola's got a press conference at 1 p.m. and you're just like, not today, she doesn't. Stay in bed.
I'll have a look at it at 9 p.m. Elo, excuse you. Thank you. Alrighty. Well, we have to go on a bit of a downer, guys. So we are a political commentary show, Chewy. Would you agree? We have our allegiances. They sit on our shoulder. In fact, they probably sit on our faces. That we are very left leaning. Of course, we are big supporters of generally the left, leftist like policies. I think we'd all call ourselves social democrats. Is probably a great little label for us. Some of us would love to be called communists. I think as well. They're quite social is strong. All those
depends on the whole beret situation.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. However, we are a political commentary show, and we do need to comment on the politics. So the main interview this weekend on Q&A was Tangi Utikere, who's the Labour spokesperson for transport. It was a really bad interview. How we were like ending the week on like a woohoo, yeah, the cap and transport, woohoo. Like National are doing their whole attack thing with math, and we're just like, who cares? Because the public generally like it. And then Jack Tame spoke to Tangi and ruined it all for us.
Oh, fuck, really?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Tangi's lovely. He's been on the show a number of times. It's not that.
Yep.
It's one of those people and one of those times where Jack is really good at what he does.
Yes, and look, we've said this every time that we show an interview with Jack Tame, is no matter what side of the political aisle you sit, or whatever you think, or where you think Jack Tame may sit, you don't go on a show unless you're ready. Like it'd be like going to war. You have to know your numbers. You have to be on your A game. And I haven't seen this video, so I guess I'll be reacting to it live, but it's not sounding good.
Yeah. So I've had to cut quite a bit from the beginning. So we'll start around the 2:30, 2:20-ish mark, which is just essentially what's the policy, just in general, we already know what the policy is. We looked at it a lot last week, the capping of public transport, $20 for people in the city, $10 for people outside of the cities, essentially, the city networks. So that's all being explained. Then Jack wants to kind of jump into the numbers, very much along the lines of what I think it was Chris Bishop last week, was also kind of doing the thing of like, this number plus this number times this number doesn't make sense. The math ain't mathing. It's fair. That's what Jack goes with as well. But he really, really presses him on this. And I felt like this was the opportunity for Tangi to really like kind of dive into it. And it did feel a little bit like he was dodging the question and kind of repeating himself and not really adding anything new to it, which gave Jack the opportunity to say, you didn't answer my question, ask again. You didn't answer my question, ask again, okay. Which is never a good look. It felt really weak. You kind of have to watch the whole thing in context, which is like 4 odd minutes of cringing, if I'm honest. So I'm going to play it at like 2:15 speed, just so we can get through it. But you know how you were talking about the oof? The like oof every year.
Yeah.
It was a lot
there's a few people in the chat that are disagreeing with you over it's a bad interview. So I will be the judge.
Well, it was put it this way. My husband was watching it and he went, "Are you really sure you want to put this on BHN?" And I asked why, and he's like, "It doesn't make him look good." I was like, yeah, it's a bit of that. So say I'm wrong. That's how I came off of it. But yeah, let's you can be the judge of it.
Them when they're doing it tough right
But
now.
we're taking that on average fee that you've given us, $25 a week. So 3 things can't be true. It can't cost $65 million a year, saving people $25 a week, and be hundreds of thousands of people who are benefiting.
Well, hundreds of thousands of people will benefit.
But not every week. Is that the key?
Well, we have about 1.34 million people who take a trip over the course of the year, 175 million public transport trips taken in this country a year. Some of them will travel more frequently, others less frequently. So everyone will benefit. But the reality is if you hit that cap, here in Auckland, you're going to benefit $1,500, a year for you. In Wellington, you'll benefit. In places like Palmerston North, you'll benefit. In Christchurch, this is about addressing cost of living pressures that people are really feeling it, and it's pretty tough.
Right, but I'm taking your figures.
Can I also just mention that was about the 3rd time he'd ask about the same question on this, and so Tangi's just reiterated the same numbers again.
Yeah, so I don't see why he struggled so much with that. That was kind of what I was talking about before. That there are a couple of different ways that people are going to benefit, and they're not the same sort of commuters.
Yep. He's going to get pressed on it again.
I don't find this hard to understand. I don't. Yeah.
Here, right? So you've said it's only $65 million a year. You've said hundreds of thousands of people are going to benefit. $25 a week on average. $25 a week on average, if it's just $65 million, is 50,000 people.
Well, the 65,
it's not hundreds of thousands of people.
Well, overall, hundreds of thousands of folk will benefit from this policy.
At some point, so not every week.
Well, when they use the public transport system and when they initially...
So I'm taking the average figures that you've given us. So if we look at that, if you take your average savings, these are the ones that you've provided, right? $25 a week is 50,000 people. So your big cost of living policy, the one that you are launching the campaign with, will help less than 1% of the population each week.
Well, we will have more policies that will come, but in terms of public transport, this is going to be a great opportunity to provide some cost of living relief. Now, just on that $65 million cost there, this is obviously a policy that will cost some money, but there will also be additional revenue that is generated from the increase in patronage, and that will offset some of the costs as well. So, again, we're really excited about this policy.
But public transport's already subsidised.
Public transport is subsidised, but so this will require more.
But it will require more subsidies, right? So it's not going to be offset if public transport's already costs the government because it's already being subsidised. The more people use it, the more those subsidies grow.
Well, we want to see more people using public transport. We want to see people taking that opportunity. And of course, the more people that do utilise public transport, it's great investment in the public transport infrastructure that we have in this country. Billions of dollars go into that, every year by governments, but also just the opportunity to be able to look at those wider benefits. When there are more people on public transport, it means that there are fewer cars on the road. It means that wear and tear on our roading network is not as much. It means we don't have as many potholes around the place. So it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, right. So you've specifically said that.
So that's just a snippet of the whole thing. I cut out a wee bit at the beginning because otherwise that full 5 minutes was him just trying to get some answers from him. It wasn't as bad watching it back, but the first time I watched it, it was like pulling teeth for him just to give like a real straight answer. And I just felt like it wasn't. I don't know what it was, but I just felt like I just wanted a straight answer, and it was a lot of the same talking points every single second. This is a great policy, cost of living. This is a great policy, cost of living. It's a great policy, public transport. And I was just like, please just answer it.
Which is true. Like he's not wrong there. It is a good policy that is going to benefit a lot of people in an instant way in a cost of living crisis, in a fuel crisis. But I don't think that's a silly thing to just keep repeating. But that
wasn't the questions that were asked.
No, he should have been ready for a questioning of the numbers. And we know what the answer is. Like I said, I feel like I understand this pretty good, because I've looked at how National are positioning it. And if that's how National are positioning it, like, you would expect Jack to come at you with it. So be prepared. Yeah. He's a hard interviewer. That's one of the things that we really like about him. But when you go on a show, that's your opportunity to answer the tough questions, hopefully well.
So he's pressed on it in the next. So that was just 3 minutes of it. The next 5 minutes again are the same again, where Jack's going, okay, well, one of the ones is going to be $90 off of someone doing the ferry from it's like one of the most expensive, richest suburbs in Wellington into the city, and it's going to save them $90 a week. And he said, is that a good use of the policy? I feel like Tangi again missed the opportunity, and it was like you have to watch it yourself. I'm not going to play every single one of it, because honestly, it was a good chunk of the first part of the interview that was me just like banging my head. But there are a few other bits throughout. The kind of end of talking about this particular policy. Well, actually, no, I don't even think it's end. Closer to the end, Jack mentions a report that was done by the Ministry of Transport itself, references it and said, did you read this piece of reporting? Because it talks about what you've essentially released. This really caught him off, and it is not a good look. I can play the correct thing.
Full subsidy rather than a more targeted approach.
Well, what's really important for us is that we make sure that any of the decisions that we take are fiscally responsible, and also that they are able to be delivered. If we think back to when we put in place half-price public transport, for example, that was going to cost, it did cost more, it was around $130 million. The current government, of course, cancelled that opportunity and didn't put anything else in place to support families without this cap. We think is a sensible households get that relief that they need.
So the Ministry of Transport recently prepared and released advice to the government on helping commuters with the elevated cost of fuel. Did you read that?
Sorry, the
Ministry of Transport recently prepared and released advice to the government on helping commuters with the elevated cost of fuel. Did you read the advice?
I didn't read the advice, no.
Right. Ministry officials explicitly said officials do not recommend broad fare subsidies as a support measure. So what do you think they didn't understand?
Well, I think, and obviously the government has referenced that more recently in terms of their approach to wanting to maybe look at service changes rather than fare cap sort of structural opportunities there. From our perspective, they go in parallel. That's not an either or. You know, you do need to work around both of them. Labor has a very strong track record in history when it comes to supporting services and infrastructure around public transport, and I don't think that would change moving forward.
Yeah, you said it's your view, but you reach your view without actually reading the official advice from officials on this very subject.
Well, you know, the officials will provide advice. What we've looked at and what we've listened to from the community.
It's not official advice from the Ministry of Transport.
But it is a real opportunity here to make a difference for households. You know, we've had a great team working around this policy, looking at the numbers, looking at how it would be rolled out. We've had external eyes over it. So we're confident with what we're putting forward. It's going to make a huge difference for households.
If I've read the advice, why haven't you?
Well, I mean, it is about ensuring that public transport is accessible for everyone. And the point that you're referring to is around, I guess, ensuring that what's rolled out is fit for purpose. Our focus is on a fare cap. It's going to deliver immediate relief for households when they call it.
They didn't answer, though. They didn't answer my question. What? I've read the advice. The officials literally in March published advice that considered the impact of broad subsidies in public transport. which is the policy that you are launching as your first big policy, having waited for so long, and you haven't read the advice that explicitly...
come on!
Well, what's important
What
is
the
that we're
fuck
thinking
was
about
that?
how we can best take steps and actions to support people to use public transport. You know, all the information that we have, the modelling that we've looked at, we're looking at a 6% increase in patronage across the network. Certainly here in Auckland, that was what they used, the basis of their $20 cap when they were looking at that in 2023. We think this is a balanced approach to ensuring that households get the support that they need.
Yeah, 6%.
Thoughts, Joey? You seem to have reacted to it.
I reacted to Jack dropping in, this is your first piece of policy that we've waited so long for.
Yeah, that's annoying me.
Like, and I did see this on YouTube as a clip yesterday morning, and it described Labour's long-awaited first policy announcement. And I think, I don't like that in conjunction with everything else. Like, I think a tough interviewer, I think part of his job is to put the government's talking points up there as well, right? Because Labour wants to be the government. They should be able to answer what the actual government is accusing them of. And I think that's what we're not seeing here in the interview is of course Jack is going to do that. Doesn't necessarily mean that he believes it or whatever. We have seen him do the very same thing, like last week against Nicola, with probably one of the best sound bites I've ever heard. You know, here's what you said years ago about child poverty, and now you're cutting even more. Has your tolerance for child poverty changed? One of the best questions I've ever heard. We don't like it when it's deployed against one of our team, but one of the real things that we want here is we want our team to do well, and I don't think he's done a fantastic job here. Like, this is a key piece of policy. It is broadly popular with people. It should be an easy defense. And I think one of the key points to defend here is this is instant relief. The moment it goes in, people see the benefit. It's not a tax credit. It's not something you won't see for a year, that sort of thing. And it will apply to anyone that uses public transport. I don't know why the ministry said, hey, look, broad subsidies aren't a good idea. I would like to see where that came from as well. Because if they're saying that that's not a good idea, then what is? What were they suggesting? We need that context. You know, because here I see a policy where workers get to access something that will materially benefit them to quite a large degree when you're talking about kids with families that use public transport. So, yeah, I mean, I'm at a bit of a loss. I am going to have to watch this whole interview at some point. But, yeah, I feel like it's like you're sort of reacting to the fact that it's maybe not as bad as the first time you saw it. Am I right about that?
The first time I watched it, I guess where I kind of came into it was I was excited to watch it because it was the first time, or the second time I think maybe, that Utikere has talked about this. I think he was on the Herald as well last week, that I might watch that as well. But a very different interview, time, style, etc. And I was excited to see maybe some of those myths, you know, to kind of debunk what National were saying at the end of last week, where it was like, well, the myth's not mything. I figured Jack would do much the same. And I just didn't get what I wanted out of it. I wanted clear, concrete, yeah, this is why the 65 million, where if I'm 100% honest, I still myself not really sure 65 million how it all is done. I get that it's not like every single person's going to save $25. I understand that it's averaged across, obviously, which is where they're getting the crazy number from. Lots of people use public transport. Everyone has a variable amount that they spend a week. So yes, of course, it's not going to cost as much. But to tackle the things of like, well, patronage is going to go up. How are you going to sort that out? What's another question was asked, like, well, Auckland Council has a $50 cap, and you said you would bridge the gap between the $20 and $50. You'd make that up with the funding. Auckland Council or whoever pays for it currently already pay for $50 and onwards, so they're already doing that. So they would just bridge the gap. And then Jack was asking, what levers are you going to pull to stop Auckland Council from just getting rid of their cap? Then it's all on the government because the government set the $20 cap. And I think it was those questions of like, you should have a solid answer, which is, he did say these things, but it was lost in this kind of PR spin, and it reminded me a lot of what I hear from the likes of Lux, and that's where it started to not sit right with me. It was the same question asked, it was the same things repeated, and I didn't like that. I wanted clear-cut answers. That's kind of what I expected in a defense of this policy. And I don't know if they're kind of just resting on like, well, the public like it, so do we really have to go into this? It's like, no, I just don't want to understand. I get it. I love it. The public love it. But like, if people are pushing these numbers on you, just give us the straightforward.
Like,
fix
I
it.
just keep on coming back to this thing, this advice that's apparently floating around that says a broad subsidy is not a good way to do it. I just don't understand. I just like, you're targeting a subsidy on people that use public transport. So how can you make it more narrow than that? It's a subsidy for every second person that uses public transport. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'd be sitting there just rattling off going, hey, look, Jack, this is a policy that has so many spin-off benefits for people. It gets people out of their private cars. There's less cars on the road. There's more parks available. You know, it lessens our reliance on fuel. And at the end of the day, it is going to mean that there is more money left in workers' wallets at the end of their week than they currently have. And they will take that money and they will spend it in their communities. They will spend it in their hospitality businesses. They will buy more groceries and make sure that their kids are fed. Where is the downside, Jack? Like, if you're going to spend $64 million, show me something that is going to benefit workers and the economy to this degree. Show me a policy that the government's got. Oh, they're talking about working tax credits, workers' tax credits. Cool. You know, is this like their tax credits for early childhood that benefited a half dozen people? Like, go on the attack a bit. Like, this is a solid piece of policy. This hasn't changed my mind on it. It's bizarre, but yes, it's like you've got to be ready to back this. It's going to get scrutiny. It's going to get lies and propaganda thrown against it. And I think this is a good opportunity, and maybe a little bit of a stumble at the first hurdle.
Which I don't think is like, if it's happening at this point of it, like I said, no one really pays attention until like a 2 month or a month out. I don't know how many people are going to actually remember this, other than those of us who are the political tragics. All those who've already made up their mind, they're probably not going to vote Labour anyways. And they may only see what was in the news headlines last week, which was essentially most of the public were like, yeah, this is cool. I do want to play a little bit towards the end as well, Chewy. Yep. I was not happy with something else that was said, and it's a bit of a follow-on from a lot of the other things that I was hearing. This is talking about the clean car discount, which was a very, very popular and very, very successful program, was it not, Chewy? I think all of us
just
have seen
asked
the graph
the Prime
where it goes
Minister
like
and his wife.
This. Yeah.
Yep.
The graph that goes like this, and then as soon as the car discount got cancelled, doop. But talking about the transition to decarbonise, etc., Jack puts the question as to whether or not Labour would reinstate something like the clean car discount to help continue to decarbonise. Also, I don't have the full script. My timestamps might be wrong. We'll get there eventually. Trust me.
For transitioning the full vehicle fleet onto road user charges. So this government has included EVs and plug-in hybrids for road user charges, although those are at a discount. Do you see a point in which people using standard old petrol will be paying road user charges as well?
I think over time that's probably where we're going to end up. It's
Any
a
kind of
fairer
time frame?
process. Well, I think even the government are finding it difficult at the moment to try and find an actual date to transition. But I think it's fair to say that would be a fair way in which we transition some of the costs to ensure that everyone is paying their fair share.
Will a Labor government reinstate the clean car discount?
Look, the clean car discount was an opportunity to get a kind of increase in EVs into the market. It's not on my immediate sort of radar for reintroduction. It was great at the time. Our focus is basically on providing cost of living support. That's what we're seeing through the fare cap opportunity, and encouraging people to, where they're able to make that transition across.
It was very effective in helping to speed up the decarbonisation of our transport fleet, right? So why is now not the right time to reintroduce that policy?
Well, we are starting to see a little bit of an uptake in EVs across New Zealand. I think probably the current sort of fuel crisis is incentivising that a wee bit. There are always priorities when it comes to transport. For us, our fare cap priority is one. I think the opportunity to support people where we can, sort of moving into cleaner, greener options is always important as well.
Right, but I mean, that was obviously offset in that people who were importing vehicles, utes being the classic example, were asked to pay more in order to subsidise EVs. If it was such an effective policy at the time, why is it not an effective policy now?
Well, I think that the climate or the context has changed a wee bit. The uptake is still continuing on the improve. I'm sure we can look at ways in which we might encourage or incentivise people to do that, but the clean car discount is probably not going to be one of them.
All right. In government.
Thoughts, Chewie?
Oh, right. Look, I would have preferred some honesty. Some brutal honesty of like, no, that policy is not coming back for a couple of reasons. First of all, National beat us up with it by calling it a ute tax, and we're not going to let them do it again, no matter how untrue it was. It was a clean car discount, and it was a polluting vehicle fee. That was the whole program. And I think where the passenger vehicle market is at the moment, combustion vehicles are pretty much at price parity with battery vehicles now. Like, there isn't as much of a need for an incentive. Like, they're appealing on their own ground, and there's enough choice out there. Like, this is one of the things that they were criticized about, that was like there were Teslas that qualified for it because that was one of the best, most available electric vehicles out there outside of secondhand Nissan Leafs. Now, you can throw a rock at a car yard and you'll probably hit an EV that's under 50 grand. So I don't think it's necessary. And as much of a fan of EVs that I personally am, I think if there was any sort of money there for decarbonising stuff, that it would go to rooftop solar before it went to personal electric vehicles. So yeah, I think a difficult one to answer. But yeah, I don't think there's any shame in going, hey, look, our opposition really changed the perception on what is and was a good policy, but they've done it to such a degree that we're not going to put it up again so we can be a punching bag. That boat has fucking sailed, dude. And a shiny cookie to the first person in an interview with Jack Tame that says that refers to him that way. Buddy, that boat has sailed, buddy.
Wouldn't that be great? Yes, I would love to. Well, we won't see you for the rest of the week, and I don't know when I'll next get to ask you. So I ask that you put it on Blue Sky once you've watched the full thing, and see if there's any other thoughts to it. I agree that Jack was in the chat was saying this as well, that he was kind of parroting a lot of what National were saying and the kind of rhetoric that they were putting out there and things. I can see that for sure, but having seen that that's been the case for the last, I mean, I don't know when exactly this was recorded anyways, but we knew, well, I mean, last week we saw what National's attack lines were going to be. Show us do the math, show us your numbers type thing. So I would have liked to have seen that addressed pretty head on. It just felt really, I don't know, it got lost in repeat PR for me personally. And I just think Jack's a tough guy. I'll be honest, if I was put next to him and I was having to defend stuff, I'd be freaking babbling and he'd probably roll me very, very, very quickly. But at the same time, if you're the spokesperson for this, if this is your shadow portfolio, for example, then you kind of have to come in swinging with the answers. But I really like Tangi. This is not a hate on Labour, hate on their policy at all. It's just it was just a feeling of gritting my teeth watching it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one to get a question from Jack that says, "Hey, look, this policy was popular and successful. Would you bring it back?" And then you know that the answer is not going to be yes. That's a difficult one to feel.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, that's that one. Sorry. Honestly,
well, actually, National heavily criticised us for breathing in the last term. So, yeah, no, we're not going to do that anymore. Sorry, everyone.
Honestly, it's a pretty easy one. If he asked me that question, I think I wouldn't know what to say. I mean, I could go the Peter Thiel route and just be like, well, humans are destroying the planet, so I guess humans dying off is like a good. Less humans is good, right? Right? Maybe breathing is not good. Less humans be good for planet. Pretty sure that's what Peter Thiel said, something along those lines, right?
I mean, it's the Peter Thiel interview series is basically the gold standard for how to try and interact with someone when you've got too much ketamine in the system. So yeah, just buffering on answering like, do you think the human race deserves to survive? And he goes, I don't know, I'll tell you out of my bunker in Wanaka. Actually, speaking of Peter Thiel, just a funny little comment that I saw. Obviously, he really struggled to get that bunker approved in Wanaka. Thankfully, that didn't go ahead. He has, I saw a story saying that he has essentially fled the US at the moment and run away to Argentina. And one of the comments I saw under that story was, oh, are they still doing that? It's talking about Nazis running away to Argentina. I was like, that is a good comment. I like that. I'm going to mention it on the show one day. And I have. Promise kept.
Someone did say, can we invite Jack on? Would love to. He is very, very busy man at the moment. But if you look on the channel, Pat's actually spoken to him 2 or 3 times. Once during lockdown, and I think once when he was in Dunedin back with the Department of Conversation, which is another series that Pat sort of started the channel off with. I actually found them because I was doing it. For some reason, I did a Jack Tame appreciation video on a Friday night. It was fantastic. And so I Googled him, and that's how I found those 2 conversations. And it was really fascinating because this was before or when Q&A was first beginning. So Pat was asking a bunch of questions about his sort of like political views and how he was going to, he's like, Jack's a huge political junkie. Like he loves this stuff. You can tell that he loves a good debate. But he talks about it really candidly. So go find those on the channel because they're worth watching. Worth watching. Do we have some super chats to go through?
Yes. Before the super chats, I'm going to start with one thing because I thought this was a good example. I've seen this comment pop up in a lot of comment sections after talking about this transport policy. And I'm sorry, Gussie Cat, I am not singling you out. It's just it's kind of a good example of something I was going to bring up anyway. I'm a tradie. I'm not suddenly going to use public transports because it's not practical for me. And I've seen other questions like, well, I live in X town that doesn't have public transport. What good is this policy for me? I think one of the things is there are so many policies out there that will not benefit you. Like, not everything is custom built for you. Guys, I don't know your situation, but you know, we were just talking about the clean car discount and that sort of thing. And that was a very broadly popular and successful program that was shut down because utes were the golden calf. We couldn't affect utes for the hardworking tradies. So, I mean, that's sort of the thing. There is going to be other policies that will speak to you as a small business owner, as a tradie, as someone that has to do work in this economy, you know? But yeah, it was almost, and I'm not saying it's this comment, but certainly ones like it that I saw in comment sections and that sort of thing, was almost just people being really put out. They're like, so I have to take public transport now? Like, people were really struggling to find an attack point on this thing. It's okay if a policy is not aimed at you. Like, one of the things that I often think of but don't verbalize is I'm a middle income owner with no kids. That means that there's a broad range of you know, tax credits and benefits and that sort of thing that are just not targeted at me. And I don't go and stand out on the side of the road going, where is the help for the childless? Probably the only reason that I'm surviving the economy at the moment is me and my wife don't have kids. So yeah, it's an interesting way to look at things, and I thought it was worthy of mention. Thank you. That is my essay. Into the normal super chats. Late fee of arbitrary tokens that Google will clip for convenience. Absolutely correct. Yep, YouTube clip the tickets on it, but everything is appreciated. It's in the ballot with a very generous $10. One thing Tangi didn't say but should have said is that most regional bus contracts are fixed flat rate prices, contract per service, costing ratepayers the same whether the service is full or empty. So that is 100% correct, because that is the most sensible way to do that. It's offset by the fares that they take for those journeys. That's why you see buses sticking to a timetable rather than going, nah, there's nobody that gets the bus at this time, we're not going to do it. Unless you're in Timaru, which is a weird public transport idea. I don't know if anybody's read or seen this about Timaru. They have a public bus service, but it comes to you on request. They have little buses that come out. You there's an app or a website or a phone number you call, and the bus will come to you and pick you up, and then pick other people up as it goes backwards and forwards. It's very strange, but apparently it works really well for them. It's really interesting if you want to look that up. And Blind Larry 8606. Yeah, I would absolutely bring this up to $25 per person, Nicola. Yeah, that Briscoe's way of mentioning a benefit or in a policy of like up to. Results may vary, as seen on TV. I think that's a real danger when you're talking about policies, because you know, it would be inaccurate if Labor went with their transport policy and said, hey, look, everybody's going to save $2,500 per year. Asterisks if you take public transport 6 days a week.
Everyone's just saying it's called a taxi. The direct-to-door service.
Yeah, but it's not a taxi. It's a bus. You don't believe me. You think I'm making up public transport now. I'm not that smart. I'm going to have to find it. Carry on while I find it. I'm summoning a bus.
Okay. This is my favorite part of the show, where I continue to be Now it's no longer covert operative for the right. I'm now an overt operative for the right. The joke is that 2 years ago, I infiltrated BHE and became a host just to slowly break down the leftist coalition that we've cultivated here. But I did see an interview. It was James Meager was talking to. I need to make a list of these with their faces because I'm terrible. Having a chat on stuff, and was talking about he's talked about this before, a bit of his upbringing, and sort of coming from the state care system and then moving into being a national MP, which is always a very interesting pipeline. John Key had the same kind of story, and I think that's why people are like, who's going to be the future prime minister? But it was really interesting watching James Meager's interview after watching Partai with the Polly's Shannon Halbert on last night, talking about sort of trades and education, training pathways and stuff. And there's a lot of similarities between the two of them, which I thought was quite interesting. So I do want to have a little bit of a look at that interview and just kind of, I guess, look at the future National Party leader, which I think has been said many times. But first, I want to know what this thing is that you've put up.
Oh, yes. No, I did find it because it does exist. Doubters. How does My Way by Metro work? Look at that adorable little bus. My Way's on-demand service comes when you need it and takes you where you need to go. That is pretty much what you need from transport. Smart technology matches your ride with other passengers going the same way for efficient shared travel. Your pickup time will be provided when you book. Pick-up and drop-off points vary depending on where the vehicle is coming from and usually just a short walk away. But yeah, this is like Timaru is, I think, 60,000 people. You know, and traditionally they have had these circuits of buses just going round and round and round and round. And it was becoming uneconomical for them. So they looked at a different way. And this works for them. I think the other two centres that are close to Timaru, Oamaru and Ashburton, don't have a public bus transport system at all. So I think when you're looking at sort of those midway hub towns and that sort of thing, I think Timaru, and this is one of the few times I'll say it, Timaru had a good idea. Doesn't happen very often. So yeah, it's a real thing. I'm not a liar. Little buses.
Little buses. I'm going to try and put my light
tiny,
back
adorable
on.
Buses.
See what happens. Could break again. I might just turn off and then I'm suddenly in the dark again. The lights turned off on me. Oh dear. Rightio. Time to roll you up. Now, Chewy, this is interesting for you, I guess, as well, because James Meager is the MP for Timaru, which is sort of your stomping ground. And he's actually, he's younger than you too, but kind of, I assume, similar growing up-ish, maybe?
Look, James Meager's an interesting cat because almost straight away people said this is the future Prime Minister material based on fucking nothing that I could see. Like, we just didn't know about this guy, right? And then he gets dropped what I would consider a poison pill. Like, here's a portfolio, you're Minister of South Island now. Okay, cool. Am I in caucus? No. Can I do anything? Not really. But you're Minister of South Island, ruffle the hair, away you go. Now, I have tried to talk to James and tried to get him on the show after he made a very snarky comment about a year ago in the comments of one of our videos where we talked about him. He hasn't decided to do that yet. I would have hoped, and again, I think this is the naive Chewy coming through again, that being given a portfolio like Minister of the South Island, that he would be speaking for the South Island more than he is. He's not talking about the Otago Hospital, the Dunedin Hospital, the Southern Hospital. He's not talking about the fact that the vast majority of transport projects go to the North Island instead of the South Island. He's not talking about how this fuck up with the ferries puts the South Island at risk of being cut off. You know, he's not doing any of these things, but he is being a good minister and running around doing talking points for National. For sure that would be a line for him to walk, but that's what I would hope of someone that is breathlessly getting mentioned as potentially a minister, a prime minister of the future.
Thank you for buffering, Chewie. So a while ago, I guess when Meager did the interview with Mihingarangi Forbes on Mata, must have been like a month or two ago, talked about his upbringing, coming from Timaru, solo mum with brothers and sisters living in a state house with the help of a benefit, which is always an interesting pipeline to go from that into the National Party. We've seen it with a number of MPs.
So many, including John Key.
Yes, including John Key. So very interesting when that pipeline happens. But the first wee bit, he mostly goes into his background and he talked about it in his maiden speech about his mum and how his mum worked really hard and things, which I do not doubt. I'm sure she did work very hard. Again, we understand that the circumstances of 20 plus, well, what is he, 35? Yeah, so like 20, 30 years ago, very, very different to the landscape of today, where working hard can mean something very, very different, which could mean a benefit or no benefit with 3 jobs on top of one another, trying to raise a family on 1, maybe 2 incomes. And that's no longer doable. So very, very different circumstances. But it's Ingrid, right? I just don't know the last name. It is Ingrid. Is she Ingrid Leary? No, it's Rebecca Wright. It's Rebecca Wright. Got there. Found her name.
Ingrid Leary is the MP for Tairi down here.
That's where I got the name from. Because I called Ingrid Hipkiss Ingrid Leary.
Yeah, first of all, there's too many Ingrids. We need to sort that out.
Having a Chris problem.
But yeah, Ingrid used to be a TV reporter back in the day as well.
Okay, I'm not going crazy. It's just, like I said, I need like a little picture with people's names on it. I'm terrible at remembering people's names, so, But the question is put to him essentially, so what's the difference between the support that you got from your mum and the situation there versus the children who don't have that support? What happens to them? You turned out all right, but what happens to the kids that don't have that? It's a fantastic question. Very, very valid question.
No, I want to talk to you more about that, because if your mother was the difference, what happens to the child who doesn't have her?
Well, things go off track, I think. I think it's very tough, not possible, but I think it is very, very tough on a young child to grow up, A, without the resources that most other people have, and then B, without the family support that most other people have. And if there's any sense of dysfunction or disunity within the family or in the neighbourhood, I think you get really poor consequences. I think that's why I really like the idea or the concept of the social investment model, where you can justify both on a consequential purpose, like it's going to have good outcomes, but also a moral purpose to invest more energy, time and resource into the early parts of a young kid's life and into those families. And I think generally we have governments, both left and right, who do that to differing degrees and with different levers that they pull. But putting the resource where it's going to make the biggest difference, I think, is a good philosophy to follow. And if you don't do that and those young people don't get that support, then yeah, I think it's going to be tough on them, on their lives, on their families, and then also on the taxpayer, because the community ultimately bears the burden of some of that cost as well.
I want to talk now about.
So this is one of the reasons that I have. He's a moderate, right? Let's be honest. He's a bit of a moderate, and he says a lot of things that are almost very left coded, but it's the same sort of thing that you guys often say, where it's like they identify the problem, but they come up with the wrong solutions. And I think he is a bit of that, where he's very, very well spoken. He's able to articulate those issues and the complexities really, really well. I think he genuinely understands that. But the party that he has subscribed to, which is his choice, which means he obviously follows a very similar ideology to and he does say this, he doesn't say it directly, but the whole pull yourself up from the bootstraps type thing of like, you got to work hard. So he has that mentality in there. But yes, Chewie.
You know how I love clarifying idioms like pull yourself up by your bootstraps?
Oh, go for it. What is it?
Yeah. The original purpose of that phrase was to describe an impossible task. And suddenly now these guys are like, no, it's completely, you just got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That's how you get out of poverty. It's an impossible task. You're repeating the thing that is what we're saying. And I think this is exactly like you're right to identify this, that it sounds great. He walks right up to the problem. He identifies everything and then just fucking wanders away. Just wanders away. Because ultimately there's a cost to be borne by the taxpayer. Yes, there is. And the question is that cost borne in providing healthcare, food, education, a healthy place to live, or is it in crime and punishment, law and order, prisons, and social decay? Pick which one. Like you can see the problems. You're just taking the wrong way to the answer, and the fact that he grew up in that. Like, it could have been very, very different for you, my friend. And I think it's that survivorship bias that he goes, well, I was able to do it, so therefore everybody should be able to do it. So therefore the people that didn't work hard enough, aren't worthy enough, whatever. And I think it illustrates a fundamental difference between left and right in New Zealand. Absolute a bedrock problem.
He does have that mentality, but I think he's also very good at, whether or not this is just him covering himself or whatever, but I don't know. I think he does also acknowledge that there is the other side of things where people cannot get out of those situations. Something I did appreciate him saying somewhere in here is that he does acknowledge luck playing a part in his position, which I'm like, there's a first. I almost never hear anyone actually saying luck played a part in getting to where I am or where people are able to overcome those barriers, because luck does play an incredibly big part in shifting social classes, I believe.
Oh, I think 100%. Like if you want to talk about luck, whether you get a good teacher that gives a shit about you is enough to pull someone out of a cycle of poverty. That's luck. You know, you get your class and you don't get the good teacher, you get the burned out one. Well, guess what? No one's coming to save you. You know, this is the sort of thing that I think from the right wing there is little to no recognition for. We should, you know, for this particular example I'm talking about of just having the luck of having a good motivated teacher. Well, there is a good reason that we resource teachers well, we train them well, and we retain the good ones. You know, that will drive people or pull people out of poverty, out of a cycle of deprivation. Could be enough to get a kid motivated enough to go to university and get them on that path track. But we don't look at that. We just look at the teachers have paid too much, or the curriculum's too woke, or whatever. Like, we're not looking at the benefits. It's the cost of, we understand the cost of everything, but the value of nothing. I guess if you're poor, it's your own fault. You should have had better children. Here's a prison.
Which is, unfortunately, where it seems to go when the right are empowered. The next wee bit is about young people. I think one of his what is his Ministry of Young People, or like a ministry for young people, looking after young people. I think he has like a little part in just about every portfolio, which is quite interesting. He's kind of the opposite of Luxon, you know? He's across all of it, whereas Luxon is across none of it. Juggling all the pies. But the reason I want to play this wee bit here is because it does echo what Shannon was talking about on Part-Time with the Poddies last night, talking to the, I guess, boosting apprenticeships and making them more accessible and helping young people be part of raising the GDP of our nation. Woo. You know, productive members of society, because apparently that's the only value that you have. That's not what Shannon was saying. That's just the rhetoric that the right like to put onto us. But James does talk about the programs and things and getting people out of the NEET hole, which is the not in education, employment, or training. And there is there's a lot of parallels here of
coming from a government that slashed training incentives. Coal.
Yeah. So where Shannon last night was talking about Te Pukenga, which the Labour government put through, which was to put all of the polytechs that were individually struggling financially because they are publicly funded under one umbrella so that they could share resources better and share the costs a lot better, similar to what Three Waters was, Chewy, where it was about sort of bringing things under, the same roof so that they could share resources. Te Pukenga, which was what Labour had put under, was supposed to do the same. This government came in and they fucking scrapped the whole thing, which I can tell you, the staff from the Te Pukenga polytechs were fucking pissed because they had like 6 to 12 months of a new restructuring period. A lot of them got fired. And then the current government came in, they fucking scrapped the whole thing, which absolutely pissed them all off. They also fucked over a ton of students. So I am not by any means happy with what this government is doing. But I did want to play this wee bit about what our Minister for the South Island and young people is doing about it. And how he considers his job, the importance of helping get people out of being neats.
Your role as Minister for Youth. Because these things align, don't they? Your own experience growing up and the challenges facing a large number of our young people in this country. The latest labour force figures show around 109,000 young people aged between 15 and 24 who are not in education, employment or training. When you hear that number, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's too high. And to be blunt, I think it sucks. I think it sucks for those young people. I think it's terrible for the future of the country when we're reliant on our young people to be the workers and the leaders of tomorrow. And we've got an ageing population and we are more and more reliant on a smaller and smaller workforce. So we've got to have good, well-educated, well-adjusted young people come through. Those numbers are clearly too high. And there are lots of things that governments do to support that. And in my portfolio, it's a tricky one because my role and responsibility is to support and advocate young people aged between 12 and 24 with youth development opportunities. And then you've also got the education portfolio and the social development portfolio, health, justice, Minister for Children. There are all sort of different arms and branches of government that play a role in this.
Yeah.
And I guess my focus is with the resources that I have in my portfolio, my ministry, how do I generate the best outcomes for those young people? So I've got sort of 3 key focuses: improving educational outcomes and school attendance, reducing the number of NEETs and making sure that we've got employment and education pathways, which is why I was really supportive in the budget of the increase to the youth guarantee spots and the trades training academies. I think they are very important to make sure that we don't just focus on the 20% of young people who go to uni. You've got to actually look at the 80% who don't follow that pathway.
Well, back in 2009, we had the global financial crisis. John Key was the Prime Minister. The number back then of young people not in education, employment or training, which basically means they are outside the system, was 50 to 60,000, give or take, and this was a national crisis. Now it's 109,000, and I don't hear stories week to week about these young people, about what the government is doing. It seems like we're a bit complacent about it now.
I don't know if
I know that question was put to him, but Chewy, on the last wee bit, Any thoughts?
Thank you, Minister. They just cut the interview at that point. That's the final word.
Yeah,
James Meager. Look, this government hates kids. They hate kids. Don't understand them, and they don't want them to vote. And they don't own a house. So what the fuck is the point of listening to children or trying to make children have a better life? They're just gonna fuck around not buying a house. Yeah, look, I don't think he has a fucking foot to stand on here. Is there anything that this government has done that has benefited children in any measurable metric? Like, I mean, that's really broad. Right? They were getting healthy, nutritious meals at school. Now they don't. They get microwave shit that nobody wants to eat from an Australian company that supplies food to prisoners. So maybe it's just getting the appellates used to it. Like, this is a government that did that laughable boot camp against all advice that it has not ever worked, ever, anywhere. And it certainly didn't work here when you tried it last. Yeah, we're just going to do it anyway. People died. And all of them, I think all of them, almost all of them, maybe one person didn't reoffend after that. And they want to do another one. Like, he seems to think, like, if he thought his pathway out of poverty, out of state housing, out of the childhood that he had was something that could be replicated, he would be fucking doing that. He would be rolling that out to people. But I think this exception, he thinks of himself exceptionally. I got out of that because of me. And you can't replicate that, so fuck these other kids. This is the hand that they dealt with.
He actually says he got out of it because of his mother, which, again, I think there's a lot of luck that played into that. But yeah, I mean, it's the same thing, right?
I mean, that's the thing. What made his mother exceptional? What help did she get? You know, because people need help. There shouldn't be any shame in people getting help. And it is a long-term, the consequence of that is long-term benefit to our society as a whole. And this is what I mean, that this is the fundamental difference between left and right. We think people are redeemable, that some people need help from time to time. And that's fine, that's good, because once they're back on their feet, then they repay that to our country, to society, and being more successful and requiring less help. You know? I just don't get, I don't understand when it comes to Paula Bennett. I don't understand when it comes to James Meager. How can you have come from that background and then literally make sure that people that were in your situation can't access the same things that you did, that your mother had access to? Or in Paula Bennett, in her example, everything that enabled her to crawl out of poverty. I don't understand. I cannot get there. I can't find a relatable part of it. I would love to sit down with James Meager and just hammer this point out. Like, how did you go from there to here? How can you have a portfolio like Minister for Children and not be absolutely crushed by the party you belong to and their absolute failure to do anything for these kids? Because you can't tell me that's a focus. The finance minister has said, oh, we know what we can do to cure child poverty, but we're not going to do it. No thanks. Yuck.
It's funny.
It's not their focus. It never has been.
Yeah. It is funny you mentioned the poverty to national MP pipeline, or the benefit child, state housing child to national party pipeline is quite interesting. I was thinking about recently as well. I know a lot of people who come from blue voting households, the children of blue voting households. A lot of them are greenies. So that's like the opposite pipeline again. Of someone who's come from probably, your dad's the national, fiscal conservative type, the paternal, I don't know, breadwinner type thing. And then the children of that end up being very progressive, very left-leaning, and are green support. Most ones I know are all green supporters. A lot of younger millennials that I tend to circle myself with are greenies. So I wonder what the pipeline is there and how that happens. Is that a recognition of privilege and then wanting to help the next generation? I guess it's just a weird one. It's complete opposite of, I had a lot of help and I recognize that privilege, so I want other people to have that, versus, I felt like I didn't have anything. So, what is the pipeline? Yeah. How do you explain that pipeline? It's a weird one.
Yeah, it is a weird one, but I'm not going to tell them that they're weird. They can keep voting green. Yay!
Oh no! Those, no, not those ones. I mean the Meagers and the Paula Bennetts.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Those are the weird ones.
Louise Upston is another one that came from that background, and she's the fucking pits. So. I guess some people can be just ignorant when it comes to this sort of stuff. Like, I mean, I've often remarked, it's great that James Meager acknowledges that there is an aspect to luck to getting out. And look, I'm not saying that I came from abject poverty or, I had a mum and dad available, but I still remember the late 80s and the mass sackings and mum and dad both being out of work and that sort of thing. Mum used to work for the IRD, dad used to work for Watties and that sort of thing, and mass layoffs in Timaru at that point. We lived in a state house area. I acknowledged that, and I also acknowledged that I was a rough kid. So some of you may have picked up on this, talking about an invested teacher being able to make a massive impact on your life, that's a very real experience for me. The other very real experience for me is I was not an easy kid. So I came very, very close to some very bad outcomes, of maybe going to a residential home and stuff like that for behavioural issues, because as we all know, ADD doesn't exist. But I was lucky. And there are a lot of kids out there that aren't lucky. They do end up going to the residential homes, which they call them that because prisons for kids doesn't have the same impact. And I don't see the level of effect that these ministers that have control over policies that will affect children in those situations, I don't see that weighing on them at all. And I don't understand that. I see the weight that stuff has on teachers that work with these kids, on care workers and social workers that work with these kids, that it weighs on them. It's almost a physical weight that you can see that they're carrying around for interacting with their kids and doing everything they can to stop them falling off a cliff. I don't see that in James Meager. Don't see that in Louise Upston. Don't see that in Karen Shaw. Maybe that's what we're missing in government, in Parliament.
Do you want me to keep playing parts of this, or do you feel like you've extended
Dealer choice.
No, I won't subject you to it. I'll give you the top. Oh, I don't know. I think this might make you laugh though. At the same time. Okay, one last little bit, and it's just because I think I like this about James Meager. Shoot me. I know I'm a covert operative. I'm becoming an overt operative for the right, for sure. But something, and I don't know if it's just kind of strange. It's someone who is currently in the halls of power, I guess as it is someone who's very introspective. Well, no, I don't know. Asks a lot of questions. He speaks in questions of like, maybe we should be doing this. Maybe we could be doing this. Is this a possibility? I like that kind of communication. I think it's someone that shows that someone's thinking about these things. But I do find it funny that he's the minister in charge of these things and he's still asking the questions, as opposed to, we've been asking these questions. These are fair questions to be asked. Here's what we've done about it. He's still kind of in this weird, like, I'm not actually in government, I'm not actually in power kind of talk. Like he kind of talks like a current opposition, which is very strange. And maybe that's why I kind of relate to him, because he's asking all the great questions and he's kind of getting down the line, like the lines of like, yes, great questions to be asking because these will lead to the solutions, and then party lines. And it's like, well, okay, cool. So you're not going to do anything about it then. But he does. You know how the government like dropped the census and like a bunch of other things that like, you know, give us information about the people and how we can help them? James Meager might be pointing that the government might have some of the solutions in the data that they could be sharing. You know, he's just asking questions.
There's probably an interesting question about how do you figure out what programs actually work and deliver the outcomes if you want. So if you want to say, well, we really need to increase school attendance, we need to actually increase pathways into employment, are the programs and initiatives that we're funding actually doing that? I don't think, having looked at some of the programs that we work with over the past year and a half, I don't know in the past whether we've done a good enough job about actually measuring what the outcomes are, but maybe we can do a better job at that. And actually as government, we hold a lot of data and we could actually support those organisations who don't have, a one FT worth of a researcher who can dig away for 6 months. Maybe we can support them with the outcome data by saying, well, you give us the names of these students and we can tell you, even anonymised, what their employment outcomes have been in the 5 years since you ran that program. And if there are good results, why wouldn't we invest in them?
So that is the
Chewy, your face.
Yeah, look, I get it. Like, I want to like James Meager, despite the fact that he's a national. And I think that's what fucking irritates me the most, right? Is that I was hoping that he was going to be a young, fired up, passionate person that would stick up for the South Island. And he hasn't been. Not in any way that matters to me or people like me, put it that way. I'm sure he says all the right things to all the right farmers. He's probably a very chatty Cathy at the Fonterra walkabouts, that sort of thing. But he's not, and I'm worried that this whole thing of like, well, he's a potential he'll be another prime minister. I was like, based on what?
Because he has a history that follows a bunch of other top national MPs.
Yeah,
so
and I think it is
the next one.
I think it is because they're going to turn around and they go, because he's got a personality. And that's it. He's a likable guy. And I'm like, can we please have a prime minister that's not based on whether you would go to a barbecue with him? Can we be a real country? Can we elect an actual proper leader, please?
I don't think personality is what he has. I think he has a look about him, Chewy. I think that's his personality. he doesn't exactly have character, if I'm honest.
Okay.
He's just a
change your name now. There we go.
Oh, I've already been called a Meager simp. I've already been called. Everyone already knows that. He's still green. Well, he's not green, that's for sure. He's still he's low enough in the ranks that he's basically just fodder, I think. And like he's chosen the party that he's chosen.
They've given him a bone so he doesn't rock the boat. You know, that sort of thing. It's like here's a portfolio. Cool. Can I be in caucus? No. The Jedi Council has declined to give you the title of Master.
To wrap this up, you got rid of my name. Oh, I was enjoying that title. Itchabir has made a great point. Blue plus green equals teal. So maybe I'm not a greenie. I'm actually a tealy. Ooh.
Disgusting.
All coming. I know, it's disgusting. I should start changing my colours, shouldn't I? In all seriousness, though, I find the psychology of MPs and the psychology of politicians and which party they choose to enter in their backgrounds, I find that fascinating because it's interesting to see how someone, like we were saying, goes from being the child of a benefit and living in a state home to a national MP who is stripping a lot of this stuff. Paula Benefit is a perfect example. A lot of people say she pulled up the ladder after her. Like, that is exactly it, of like why it's so fascinating but strange and interesting all the same. If I'm honest, I would like to see we live in an MMP system. We live under it. We're forced within it. You're going to have a spectrum of parties in Parliament at any one time, which means you're going to have a spectrum of MPs in Parliament at any one time. There are always going to be national ministers in government, whether they're in opposition or they're in government, Parliament, government. I would much rather have people like James Meager in the National Party than the current ones that we have, the likes of the Louise Upstons, the fucking Luxons of the world. I don't want them in Parliament. I don't want them in government. I don't want him as our Prime Minister. I would like to see more of the moderates back in there because I would like to see the left and right working together. That's what I want. That's the sort of person that I want to be in there, working with the left, or at least aligning more and more with the left. He's asking the right questions. His party and he's locked into his party's ideology, which means he will never get to the likes of what Labour and the Greens are doing. He will never get those solutions. That's where I come from it. But
no, that's fair.
Don't vote from.
We've often,
if you don't, yeah.
We've often talked on the show about how the current National Party is captured by a bunch of religious fundamentalists and Atlas patsies, and maybe he's not one of them, and that might be about as close to praise as I'll get to with him. But he's got a long road in front of him. As far as it goes, and this is my final word on James Meager, as Associate Minister for Children. Just had a quick look. New Zealand has the highest youth unemployment numbers in 30 years. Nearly 1 in 5 young people have no work or no training. That's happening now under him. It's not improving. His government.
Yep.
And that's it. Shut it down.
Wow.
2-hour show. You got 1 minute.
Oh no. Well, this is Chewy's last episode. I thought we would just like throw him in the deep end, get all of it out so that he's got 3 days to enjoy his birthday. We've managed to get 4 Chewies in one night, It's been great. Yep. It's been great. Yeah. But yes, no, we do need to pass you on to your weekend, your very long, extensive weekend
Yes.
with some credits.
I'm looking forward to it.
Credits? Sounds like fun.
Credits. Let's go.
Help us settle a debate, whether it be thoughtful or funny, even if we're all creatures of hate. It's a fine line that we're walking together. For better, push aside the temptation to berate. Let's take a note of the corners we stand in. As many points as the hairs on my chinny chin chin. When the news that we're watching is hairy, knowing all the things that we need to be wary of. Like the rich have the hand out for rewards, while the many have to work out what they can't afford. And the rest of us ain't paying attention, or maybe have questions we're too worried to mention. Other media is still dwelling on trivial facts, setting peas from the rice and the mice from the rats, and picking and choosing who walk off to run, and linking ourselves with the hill to die on. It's gotta come down to a welcoming vibe, with an A in a self and a higher in mind. All have a lean either this way or that, and will be analyzed by what you impact. With the evil in the world trying to mess with your head, and you're sitting on the couch, you're thinking chivalry's dead. Each night, two nights, they're gonna sing you to bed. It's Big Hairy News.
Thanks for watching another episode of Big Hairy News. Chewy's away for the rest of the week. I don't know who's coming on with me tomorrow night. If y'all are watching and you're my potential hosts, just tell me you want to come on. Otherwise, it will probably be myself and Magenta. I'm so organised, by the way, guys. No, we're still waiting on hosts, but Magenta and I will be on otherwise. Or it's just me. I've just wrote Magenta into it. Anything to say for the rest of the week, Chewy, till we see you next week?
Be kind to each other and bully the government.
Thank you. Great.
That's all.
Wise words. Okay. All right. Catch you, bye. See you tomorrow night, 9 p.m. for more Big Hairy News. Bye-bye.
Cheers, man.